February meeting of the Richland County Board of Supervisors. I'll call it order. And Mr. Blasek, Clerk Blasek, would you take roll, please?
Okay. Dan Carroll. I'm sorry. John Murphy Lopez. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Lee Van Landijk. How about Don C?
I'm here. Evening.
Richard McKee.
I'm here.
Marty Brewer.
I'm here.
Melissa Luck. Gary Manning.
Here.
Tim Gotchel. Ingrid Glasper.
I'm here.
Linda Gentis.
I'm here.
David Turk.
Here.
Ed Cosgrove.
Here.
Bob Frank. Harry Severson.
Present.
Steve Williamson.
Here.
Mark Cooey.
Here.
Dan Nelson. Peg Call. Dan McGuire. John Murphy, I think I saw you. John?
Yes, I'm here.
How about Lee Van Landijk? Melissa Luck. Okay. Van Nelson. How about Scott? Bob Frank.
He's trying to rejoin the meeting. He didn't have audio.
Okay. Peg Call. Dan McGuire.
Here.
I'll go back to Dan Carroll.
Steve Carroll's here.
Steve Carroll. Did Lee Van Landijk, did he join yet? Melissa, did she join yet?
Neither one is on yet.
Or Peg Call? Looks like we have 16.
You might want to send them the link again.
I'll do that
That's
right
where
away.
Steve and I were having trouble.
Yeah, how do we end up with so many links that don't work?
I believe Melissa may be out of town.
Yeah, that didn't answer the question. Why do we end up with so many links that don't work?
I haven't had that experience before. Everybody gets the same link. It's auto-generated.
Well, I can focus.
Incidentally, linked on the March date, which was also broadcast. So maybe someone did the March one.
Okay, Mr. Blasek, Clerk Blasek, do we have a quorum?
Yes, you have 16 present.
Mr. Chair and Victor, Tim Gotchel is here. I don't know if I was called.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Steve Carroll is here.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes. Can you hear me, Marty?
Yes,
We do have a quorum, yes.
thank you. We have someone to lead an invocation, I believe.
Jan Stockwood.
So please bow your heads for an invocation. Do we have clergy on the line?
Jan, stop.
Do we have clergy?
I'm not
Well,
seeing it.
We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, I don't think we have present tonight.
Pardon me, Clint?
Mr. Chair, I don't think we have any clergy present tonight for an invocation.
Fine. We will.
Chair might suggest silent prayer.
Let's just move on.
Clerk Vlasic, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic.
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Vlasic, Clerk Vlasic,
Yes,
meeting was properly posted,
yes.
and would you please read the agenda?
Please be advised, the February meeting of the Richland County Board of Supervisors will convene at 7 p.m. Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. Virtual. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, barely.
The agenda is roll call, invocation, pledge of allegiance, approve agenda, approve minutes of January meeting, resolution celebrating Black History Month, resolution recognizing the retirement of an employee of the Child Support Agency, resolution authorizing the County Highway Commissioner to hire seasonal patrolmen, resolution approving the payment of 2 invoices for the Register of Deeds Office, resolution approving payment of invoice for the 3rd year of the Sheriff's Department's TASER program, resolution approving a contract with an engineer relating to repairing the county's emergency radio and tower infrastructure, resolution approving a contract with a Madison engineering firm to provide professional services regarding repairing the roof on the original courthouse, resolution authorizing the Management Information Systems Department to enter into an annual contract for encrypted emails, resolution amending resolution number 20-117 relating to approving provider contracts for 2021 for the Health and Human Services Department, resolution approving 2 transfers of funds in the Health and Human Services Department, resolution amending the Health and Human Services Department's addendum to the Handbook of Personnel Policies and Work Rules, resolution creating 1 child and youth services supervisor position in the Department of Health and Human Services, resolution creating 1 adult protective services / crisis professional position in the Department of Health and Human Services, resolution relating to canceling stale county checks, resolution relating to canceling stale tax certificates for the tax year 2008 and making an appropriation, resolution relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the town of Aiken, resolution relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the town of Henrietta, resolution approving engagement letters with the county's labor attorney and with the county's auditor, resolution making amendments to the resolution number 15-98 relating to establishing a policy regarding a minimum balance in the general fund, resolution restructuring the Child Support Agency, resolution establishing policies for the utilization of funds from the short-term capital borrowing fund, resolution establishing a procedure for county employees to express management concerns, resolution approving a transition plan and directives to transfer human resources and financial functions from the county clerk's office to the county administrator, ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to George Riggin in the town of Richwood, ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Chris Selpflug in the town of Richwood, Ordinance amending ordinance number 20-26 relating to designating the county clerk as the administrative coordinator of the county. Resolution amending the administrative manual and employee handbook. Administrator's report. Appointments, child support director. Report on petitions for zoning and amendments received since the last county board session. Report on rezoning petitions recommended for denial by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Correspondence and adjourn.
You've heard the agenda read. What is your wish?
This is Chad. I'll move to approve.
This is
Motion by
Richard.
Chad,
I'll
second by. I need a second.
I'll second.
By Manning.
I'll second.
We have a second by Manning. Motion by Cosgrove. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have a 36-point agenda. We'll go right down the line unless anyone thinks we ought to move the ordinances relating to parcels to the top of the agenda. What is your wish?
I would agree with that, Marty. This is Mark, moving the zoning.
All
up.
right. All right, then why don't we move item number 29 and 30, and then we'll take 33 and 34 while Mike Bendel has the mic. Mr. Blasek, can you read number 29, please?
This will be ordinance number 2, amendment number 5 and 3. That the following described 2.43 acre parcel belonging to George Riggin in the town of Richwood is hereby rezoned from the agricultural and residential district to the single family residential district. The ordinance is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Steve Williamson, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, and Ingrid Glassbrenner all signing in favor.
You've heard the ordinance. What is your wish?
Williamson
I'll make the
moves.
motion.
Williamson
Cooey,
moves,
second.
second by
Cooey.
Cooey.
Seconds.
Have a second by Cooey. Mike Bindle, are you on? Can you give us background?
Doesn't appear that he's on, but he did email the information earlier.
The background on I'll read what he sent out today.
Thank
The
you.
background on this is that the Riggins is purchasing 11 acres next to his property and then plans to sell 2 acres back to the property owner. The remainder will be added to his parcel. The 2.43 acres is the farm buildings and residence. Town of Richwood has approved.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ordinance carries. Agenda item number 30, Mr. Blasek.
This will be ordinance number 3, amendment number 514. That the following described 5.2 acre parcel belonging to Chris Stelflug in the town of Richwood is hereby rezoned from the general agricultural and forestry district to the agriculture and residential A-R district. The ordinance is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Steve Williamson, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, and Ingrid Glassbrenner all signing in favor.
You've heard the ordinance. What is your wish?
This is Gentis. I so move.
So moved by Linda Gentis, second.
Glassbrenner.
Second by Ingrid Glassbrenner. Do you have any background on this one, Steve? I believe you read that before.
Yes, I do.
I'm here.
Mike, are you on?
Can everyone hear me now?
There we
Yeah.
go. Go ahead, Mike.
For this one, the applicant bought 135 plus acres. He is selling off 5.2 acres, which is the buildings and the residents, keeping the vacant farmland. Town approved.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance carries, is passed. While you're there, Mike, do you have any report on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last board session? And do you have a report on zoning petitions recommended for denial?
There is 4 petitions. There is a petition by Wiggy Farms to rezone 6 acres from ag forestry to ag residential in section 28, town of Richwood. There is a petition by Greg Greenheck to rezone 2.49 acres from ag forestry to residential 2, section 35, town of Buena Vista. There's a petition by Robert Klang to rezone 2.02 acres from ag forestry to residential 2, section 11, town of Westford. And there's a petition by Jason Gerner to rezone 26.09 acres from ag forestry to ag residential in section 31, town of Marshall. The report on petitions recommended for denial is none.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll resume with the regular agenda then, the regular sequence. I'll call for agenda item number 6, a resolution celebrating Black History Month. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 18. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county board hereby celebrates February as Black History Month. And be it further resolved that the county board encourages residents and visitors to learn about and embrace the historical contributions of African Americans. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Rules and Resolutions Committee and Ethics Board. Sean Murphy Lopez, Chad Cosgrove, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and Carrie Severson, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Van Landijk moves.
Van Dyke moves.
Frank will second.
Second by Frank. Any discussion? I found it interesting, the mention of a couple of the early settlers, Benjamin Butts, Miller Bowler. So those are people I need to read up on. Thank you. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The resolution carries. Agenda item number 7, a resolution recognizing the retirement of an employee of the Child Support Agency. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 19. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county board hereby expresses its sincere appreciation to Ms. Nancy Tisdale for her over 32 and a half years of dedicated service, including 22 and a half years in the Extension Office and the last 10 years in the Child Support Agency. And be it further resolved that the county board wishes Ms. Tisdale a long and happy retirement. And be it further resolved that the county clerk shall send a copy of this resolution to Nancy Tisdale, P.O. Box 543, Muscatine, Wisconsin. The resolutions offered by the Child Support Committee, Linda Jennis, Dan McGuire, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Williamson moves.
Williamson moves. Second
Turk.
by
Turk seconds.
Turk. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution carries. Thank you. Agenda item number 8, a resolution authorizing the county highway commissioner to hire seasonal patrolmen. Clerk Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 20. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county highway commissioner is hereby authorized to recruit and hire seasonal patrolmen in the event of staff shortages due to unforeseen circumstances. And be it further resolved that seasonal patrolmen shall be paid at grade G in the county's pay plan, with the commissioner being authorized to pay each hire at step 1, hourly rate $18.56, at step 2, hourly rate $18.99, or at step 3, hourly rate $19.42, in the commissioner's discretion and based upon the abilities and the experience of the recruit. And be it further resolved that the county highway commissioner is responsible for seeing that no seasonal patrolman works enough hours to qualify for fringe benefits. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gendis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion.
Motion by Manning,
Second, by
Williamson,
McGuire.
second.
second by McGuire. Manning, McGuire.
Chair, I have a question.
Do we have some discussion or explanation?
This is something we've been doing there as long as I can remember being on the highway committee anyway.
Do we know how many are being hired at a time or what the numbers are seasonally?
Can you speak into the mic, please? Gary?
I believe it's normally one. I've never known it to be over two, but Steve's been there more years than me.
So in the summertime, for like flaggers, we hire 2 seasonal. Those are summer employees, but this
That's Mr. Petrick.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Roger. I just was recognizing you.
Okay. And then, so this is seasonal patrolmen. So this would be if we would encounter staff shortages because of the pandemic or some unknown circumstances that, so emergency purposes, help going, flooding, wherever we need extra staff if we're short.
Thank you.
I think this makes a lot of sense, personally.
Mr. Chair,
Comments?
yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Sean. I voted to support this coming out of Finance and Personnel, but there was another position I voted against at that same meeting, which is on our agenda later. And, you know, I was thinking about this a little bit more, and I really appreciate the ideas that staff are bringing to save us money. You know, I think that's what Mr. Petrick brought this forward in part, was so that we could actually reduce the overtime. There's another part of this that would help with emergencies, like he mentioned, the pandemic, or if there's flooding. And what I am thinking now at this point is, I think I'm more comfortable with the possibility of an annual check-in on something like this, so that we could understand that the financial impacts of it. You know, I mean, if you have an idea early on, maybe it'll change later. And so, you know, I just want to throw this out there as a potential amendment. I'd like to, I don't know if I'll have a second here, but I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution so that the creation of the position is considered temporary, and that it may be extended by the county board based upon an annual report by the highway commissioner.
Okay, motion by Sean that the position be considered temporary and reviewed annually, is that?
That's correct.
Do I have a second to that amendment?
I can second that. Glassbrenner.
Second by Glassbrenner.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Seeb.
I would like to ask the highway commissioner's comment in terms of how this amendment may impact his management of the proposal.
Yes, Mr. Petrick, can you comment, please?
It won't impact. I'm fine with coming back in a year and talking about anything you wanna. We'll go through it. I'm only expecting to use them in an as-needed basis, so it's not like I'm gonna implement it right away. First, I got to find available staff that I can trust. I'm gonna go to retired employees is what I'm is my goal.
Thank you. Corp Counsel, do you have the wording of that amendment? Asking Ben if he has the wording.
And I think he's muted. Ben is muted.
Can we unmute Ben?
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to either type it into the chat box or email it to Corp Counsel.
Please do that. Please do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Ben.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Corp Counsel said thank you, so let's vote on the amendment, please. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Had one nay.
2 nays. Williamson is a nay.
2 nays.
I think you're micromanaging too much.
Make that 3. I mean,
3 nays on the amendment. 3 nays on the amendment, but I believe then we have enough to pass the amendment. Then let's vote on the resolution as amended. All those in favor of the resolution as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the resolution carries. Agenda item 9. Resolution approving the payment of 2 invoices for the Register of Deeds office. Clerk Lustig.
This would be resolution number 21. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for paying the following 2 invoices for maintenance services for the Register of Deeds computer system. 1, Image Tech Incorporated in the amount of $2,613.65 with $2,010.50 to be paid from the Register of Deeds budget and $603.15 to be paid from the Land Records budget. Number 2, Land NAV/GCS in the amount of $6,040 with $4,290 to be paid from the Register of Deeds budget and $1,750 to be paid from the Land Records budget. And be it further resolved that the county clerk is directed to issue county checks in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
This is Bob. I'll approve that.
This is Sean. I'll second it.
And who made the motion?
Bob Frank.
Bob Frank, seconded by Sean Murphy Lopez. Is Sue on the line? Does she want to comment? Mrs. Triggs, are you on the line? Okay, anyone want to speak to this? It looks pretty routine to me.
Mr. Chair, this is Clint. Yes, it is routine. It's brought forward. These are her annual expenses that have to do with her software for her imaging and her for getting her records imaged and scanned.
Thank you. All those in favor of the resolution approving the payment of 2 invoices for Register of Deeds signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution carries. Item number 10, Clerk Lustig, a resolution approving payment of an invoice for the 3rd year of the Sheriff's Department TASER program. Clerk Lustig.
This to be resolution number 22. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for payment of the invoice of Axon Enterprises Incorporated of Tucson, Arizona for $5,627, which is the 3rd year payment for the Sheriff's Department's TASER program. And be it further resolved that the county clerk is hereby directed to issue a county check from the 2020 Capital Improvement Fund, Fund number 75, in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Locke, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
This is Bob. I'll move.
Make a motion.
Motion by Frank, second by Mark Cooey. Any comments? Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a chair. This is Frank. Is this is a third year? Is this an ongoing? Is this every year? This kind of indicates that it might be the third year of a sequence of payments might have an end, or is this an annual payment?
I'll defer then to the sheriff or Clay Porter. Are either of them on the line?
Chief Deputy Clay Porter here. Yes, it's a third year of a 5-year program. As long as we maintain the payments and stuff like that. If we're to have any, I guess, breaks or failures of equipment while we're in the program, Taser will replace that equipment.
Yeah, Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
If this had been paid for twice in 2 years, didn't they budget for the third year? And now we're taking it out of capital funds?
Good question, Mr. Nelson. Can someone answer that for me? Did you hear the question? His question is, why wasn't this budgeted? Why are we taking it out of capital improvement funds?
I guess, again, Chief Deputy Clay Porter, the answer to that question is that this would normally come out of our equipment line, and that equipment line in 2020 was taken from us and put into capital borrowing.
Thank you. Thank you. Does that answer your question, Van Nelson?
Interesting answer. Thank you.
Well, theirs is not the only department that was affected this way. We did it pretty wholesale. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a vote. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution carries. Item number 11, a resolution approving a contract with an engineering firm relating to repairing the county's emergency radio and tower infrastructure. Clerk Vlasek.
This will be resolution number 23. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the contract proposed by True North Consulting Group Incorporated of Stillwater, Minnesota, to undergo a Phase 1 evaluation estimate relating to the county's emergency radio and tower infrastructure at a cost of $24,500. And be it further resolved that the funds to carry out this resolution shall come from the short-term capital borrowing fund, Fund number 92, and approval is hereby granted for the county administrator to sign on behalf of the county the contract proposed by True North Consulting Group Incorporated for this work. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
This is Bob. I'll second.
Moves for approval, seconded by Bob Frank. I'm going to call on Administrator Langrick to give an explanation as to why we see this and other expenditures coming out of the capital short-term borrowing, please.
Mr. Chair, this is Administrator Langrick. This is an item that we did have in the apportionment for this year's short-term borrowing. The urgency of this situation kind of came about through the Sheriff's Department as well as our fellow partners in emergency response and our fire departments. as well as concerns coming from MIS on the age and the upkeep of our current system. This first phase, of which there's essentially kind of three, kind of gets us in a situation of having a consultant come in, review our existing systems, and be able to give us a report on those systems and help us identify our problems. The second phase then includes the specification design on how we're going to fix those problems, and then a phase three then would be a contractor coming out, coming in to actually design a system. So we're essentially, until we know how much, or until we can kind of complete a phase one and a phase two specification design, we're not going to have a full dollar amount on how much the project's going to cost to remedy. Now we did solicit out for applications for bids for the actual consultant role, which is something that we're not mandated to do by statute or by county board rules, but based on the significance of the project, we did solicit out, and we interviewed with 3 different firms. We interviewed, I believe, with Evans, with Tusa, and then with True North. The interviews were conducted with the LEJC, and then I believe on a unanimous decision, they gave recommendation to enter in with True North. Is there any other further information that you'd like on this, Mr. Chair?
Any other questions, please?
Yeah, this is Frank speaking. I'd like to encourage the group. I think this is a great idea. I think it's a great plan, a good stepping process, a good phase one. I'd like to encourage the communication also with the State Office of Emergency Communication, who is working currently on a budget for the next biennium on a statewide radio network that's already in place, but it has very poor coverage in some areas. And if that can be collaborated with, I think that would save us some money and some resources. And I understand this is phase one. That's not the part of it yet. But I think that's something we want to make sure we look at in the future. That's all.
Thank you. All right. I think we're ready to vote on this resolution. So all those in favor of resolution approving a contract with an engineering firm signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Agenda item number 12. A resolution approving a contract with a Madison engineering firm to provide professional services regarding repairing the roof on the original courthouse. Clerk Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 24. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the contract proposed by the Madison engineering firm of Specialty and Engineering Group, LLC, to do a damage assessment and repair and or replace parts of the roof on the original courthouse, with the firm's fees to be as follows. A, for repair of the concrete tile roof, 10% of the lowest responsible bid received. B, for the replacement of the concrete tile roof, 8% of the lowest responsible bid received. And be it further resolved that funds to carry out this resolution shall come from the short-term borrowing fund, Fund Number 92, and the county administrator is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county the contract proposed by the firm for this work. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, John Seep, and David Turk, all standing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, board?
This is Dave. I'll move to approve.
Motion by Williamson, second by
Van Landite.
Van Landite. Comments. The engineering firm is Russell Mowens, isn't it? The same gentleman who helped us negotiate the insurance claims from hail damage?
Mr. Chair, this is Administrator Langrick. Yes, Mr. Mowens helped us with negotiating the claims through Clerk Vlasic. He has also been our contractor and our consultant in the multi-roof repairs on the campus, the Health and Human Services building in Simon, that is supposed to be beginning here in the spring. And based on our record with him and the performance that we've had with him, we're now reaching out to him to help us in assessing and finding a solution on our historic courthouse roof.
Mr. Manning approached me earlier. We didn't get a copy of this resolution in some of the packets, but there was no hail damage on the original clay roofing. Is that right? This is all because of leaks developed over the years. Is that correct?
From what we've assessed right now, based on the damage that we're seeing from the inside, and then also from some images we were able to get through Chief Porter's drone, our best guess at it right now is a lot of this has to do with the different temperature changes and the contraction and stretching of all the underlaying underneath the tile. There's a couple spots where you can see damage actually to the tile, but other spots it looks like it's more leaking from the underlayment, which is, again, is probably a result of weathering. Is our best guess. But until we actually tear off the tile, we won't know.
We sent a drone up, huh? Like that. How techy.
What would be your guess of the age of that roof?
1984.
84. The original, well, when the addition was built.
Steve Carroll here.
All
I've got
right.
a question. I've got a question on the two alternatives. I'm not sure I'm understanding what alternative A means.
One is repair and one is replacement.
If we end up picking an option for a replacement, then we're going to they'll take an 8% of that total cost. If we take an option for a repair, then we would owe Russ's firm 10% of the total cost.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? I will only say that this man has saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars from where we first started with our insurer way back when, after the hailstorm. So I trust him implicitly. All those in favor of this resolution indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Item number 13, a resolution authorizing the Management Information System Department to enter into an annual contract for encrypted emails. Resolution number 13, Mr. Blasek.
This will be resolution number 25. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Management Information Systems Department to purchase a Barracuda Essential Security Edition license for 290 county employee users from JComp Technologies of Baraboo at a cost of $7,864.80, which represents a cost of $27.12 per year per user, a considerable reduction from the county's current cost of $100 per year per user. And be it further resolved that the cost of this license is provided for in the Management Information Systems Department's account in the 2021 county budget. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mike Cooey, Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Gentis, I so move.
What's your pleasure?
Linda Gentis, I so move.
This is Frank, second.
Cooey.
Cooey seconds. I'll call on Barb Scott to fill us in on this, please.
So with the event of COVID and just the evolution of technology, we're finding that encrypted email is becoming more of a necessity. We're submitting a lot of documents that have to be encrypted. It really is a business practice that's a standard and not something unusual. So we had to find a solution. The solution's much cheaper than other options we looked at, and we're using as interim measures. This will allow all employees to have access to encrypted email, including board members. However, there has been opinion that you shouldn't encrypt all your email because if there was an open records request, we would be required to decrypt them for those open records requests. That certainly has been up for debate, but all of the information that I have found from the DOJ has indicated that.
Thank you. Does everyone understand what we're doing here?
No, this is Carol. I don't understand, and I'm trying to understand how it changes our use, our experience of emailing.
Okay.
When you send email normally, it will change nothing. And for you, it probably shouldn't. However, if you were in the county clerk's office and you had to submit a workman's comp claim with medical information and a social security number, you would want to encrypt that information so it wasn't going across the highways of the internet unsecured. So now they will be able to do that. As a supervisor, there may not ever be a need for you to send something secured, but if there was, you would have the ability.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Seed.
Yeah, I fully support this. It enhances the privacy and I'm sure with the dictates of the federal and state privacy laws. Is that correct?
That's
this is Supervisor Frank. I have a question. It says that this is replacing an existing system. Is that correct? And saving money doing that?
currently there are several users who have encryption through Zixmail. Zixmail costs $100 per user per year. So we have a little over $3,000 per year in those subscriptions that are only covering 30 users. This will cover all 290 users for a little bit more money overall, but only $27 per user. So it's much cheaper.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
On the other hand, this protection is a way of protecting the county from liability risk, and I'm sure that our corporation counsel would confirm that. It would cost us much more money if there was a violation of privacy and if the county were sued.
Mr. Chairman, I would say, however, that the county does have very good liability insurance.
Yes.
But you don't want to rely on liability insurance.
All right, are we ready to vote on this? All those in favor of authorizing MIS to enter into a encrypted email annual contract signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Item number 14, a resolution amending resolution number 20-117 relating to approving provider contracts for 2021 for HHS. Mr. Blasek.
This will be resolution number 26. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that resolution number 20-117 is hereby amended by changing RTPWISC to Array Behavioral Care, with this contract being to provide telepsychiatry services to the Behavioral Health Services Unit in the amount of $130,000 for 2021. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Health and Human Services Board, Carrie Severson, Ingrid Glassbrenner, Dan Nelson, and Brad Wagner, all signing in favor.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Nelson moves. Second by
Williamson.
Williamson. The motion was by Nelson, second by Williamson. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. We have an explanation. Any comments from Tracy? Do you have a comment on that? Tracy Thorson, Director of HHS.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Tracy. This is simply a name change on the contract. That's the only thing that needs to be changed. This provider has changed its legal name and we need to amend the contract like that.
Thank you. So just a name change here, folks. So let's vote on this. Routine resolution amending a resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 15, a resolution
Mr.
approving
Chair.
2 transfers of funds in HHS
This is Van
department.
Nelson.
Van Nelson, are you trying to get recognized?
Mr. Nelson.
Yes, Mr. Nelson.
I've asked the meeting. This is and I needed it at polls, so I'm going to.
Thank you for attending as long as you did, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
All right, where were we? Approving 2 transfers of funds. Mr. Blastek, please.
It'd be resolution number 27. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following funds in the Health and Human Services Department are hereby approved. Number 1, transfer $10,000 from the Transportation Program Fund, Fund number 63, to the Health and Human Services Fund, Fund number 56, for administration costs. 2, transfer $199.90 from the Children's Community Options Program, CCOP, Risk Reserve Fund, Fund number 40, to the Health and Human Services Fund, Fund number 56, for the purchase of a Zoom business account license. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
This is Sean. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sean, second
Gotchell,
by
second.
Mr. Gotchell.
Tim Gotchell, second.
Yes, got it. Thank you. Seconded by Tim Gotchell. These are pretty direct things. I don't think we need a lot of explanation. Are we ready to vote? I think so. All those in favor of the transfers signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Item number 16, a resolution amending the HHS Department's addendum to the Handbook of Personnel Policies and Work Rules. Mr. Blasek.
This will be resolution number 20. Now therefore be the Richland County Board of Supervisors that section 1D under the heading Hiring and Employment Considerations of the Department of Health and Human Services addendum to the Handbook of Personnel Policies and Work Rules is hereby amended by adding the following underlined language. 1, hiring for long-term vacancies 90 days or longer. D, employees hired for a social worker or AODA counselor opposition who have been not yet received certification shall be paid at the social worker temporary certification starting rate and agree to obtain temporary certification by the end of his/her probationary period. This is a requirement and condition of employment for the position he/she has been to, and an agreement will be entered into as part of the employment offer. The director may waive the social worker certification requirement of an otherwise qualified candidate if it does not conflict with any other program requirements and is in the best interest of the department and the services to be provided. When the certification requirement is waived, the employee may not advance to the pay grade for the certified social worker level positions. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and Dave Turk all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Madison, approval.
Don Seep moves. Do I have a second?
I can second that last minute.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, Corporation Counsel Southwick here. There's a typo. That opposition should be position, not opposition. I'll treat it as a typo unless there's I'll treat it as a typo unless there's an objection.
We'll accept it as a typo unless we object. No? Okay. Do we need further explanation from Tracy Thorson? If not,
Chairman Brewer,
yes.
This is Mark Cooey.
Mr. Cooey, go ahead.
I didn't vote for this in Finance and Personnel. I question why we would want to hire people that aren't going to get the certification or don't have the certification. I like the way it reads prior to the addition. I think people should be held accountable to the position and should have to have the social working background or certifications or what have you.
Thank you. I'll throw that one to Director Thorson for comment.
Mr. Chair, in general, I agree with Mr. Cooey that in most cases, the agency would prefer to have certified social workers in the positions. There are occasions where recruiting a position is very difficult, and when the requirements do not mandate a social work certification and we are having difficulty recruiting, this is the reason for asking for this correction. It would be the intent that this is not frequently used, just for the reason that Mr. Cooey points out that there's a value in having that professionalization for our staff, but there are times where it becomes a barrier to being able to fill positions that are needed.
Thank you. So in other words,
Mr.
it gives
Chair,
us some flexibility in hiring. Yes, Mark?
Mr. Chair, yeah, I just have another, I guess in my opinion, if the state doesn't require social work for certain positions, then we should call out them positions and not require it in the hiring. That way then we don't have to affect the rest of it could put Tracy in a bad place if she gets the wrong person. And I would just assume we don't have to go down that path. I guess I would rather us not pass this and go forward and fix the positions that don't require the certification and post them accordingly. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, would it be all right if I speak to that concern?
Yes, please.
Many of the positions at Health and Human Services do not have a legal requirement for the social work position certification. So I think that we would prefer to keep the positions as they are, generally always looking for someone who has a professional certification. we could eliminate a lot of that from many of our requirements for bachelor's degree, case management, and professional staff. But I think it's to the benefit of the county that we keep that in place as it is.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Yes. With all due respect to the Honorable Mr. Cooey, I believe it's in the best interest of the county.
Thank you. Any other comments?
This is
We're going
clerk.
to call a vote on
Chair.
this. Yes.
Can we have a roll call vote?
Yes, we'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Vlasek, please.
Could I ask a question?
All those, yes.
How does Mr. Cooey want the resolution to appear? In favor, against, or?
Who asked that?
I'm against.
Okay. Are you ready for a roll call? Mr. Manning?
Yes, I'm not clear on exactly what we're voting on here, and I want a clarification.
Well, can he abstain for one round here?
I'll go on, okay. Tim Gotchel?
Go on.
Gotchel?
This is Gatchel. Are we voting now? Roll call vote?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm voting no. Voting no.
Glassbrenner?
Voting aye.
Gentis?
Aye.
Burke?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Nay.
Frank?
Aye.
Iverson?
Aye.
Williamson?
Nay.
Cooey?
Hey.
Nelson? Gone, okay.
Nay.
Harrell?
Nay.
Murphy Lopez?
Aye.
Van Landite?
Aye.
Deep?
Aye.
McKee?
Aye.
Brewer?
Aye.
And Manning?
Nay.
Ten in favor and 7 against.
10 to 7, motion carries. The resolution is adopted.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Wait a second here. Can we have people that are not speaking, please use the mute button? We are getting, I don't know if it's just me, but everybody else, if you look at the chat, there's all kinds of noise coming across.
Thank you, Steve. I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Thank you.
Well,
Steve.
we need to have some train. If we're going to continue these meetings, we need to have some training because we have a lot of people that do not mute their mics. Thank you.
I've been trying to mute them as we go, but it's people unmute and then it's hard to continually remute.
Okay, I didn't catch your comment, Barb, but that's okay. Our next meeting, we hope we will be back at the Phoenix Center. Okay. Item number 17, a resolution creating one child and youth services supervisor position in the Department of Health and Human Services. Item number 17. Mr. Vlasek.
It's very quiet now. This would be resolution number 29. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that one child and youth services supervisor position is hereby created in the Department of Health and Human Services and one child and youth services case manager position is eliminated. And be it further resolved that the one case manager in the child and youth services unit who holds the required experience and credentials to fill this supervisor position, Ms. Kayla Williams, is hereby appointed to the new position at grade K, step 2, $25.73 per hour in the county's pay plan. And be it further resolved that the job description for this new position, which is on file in the county clerk's office and which is also accessible on the county's website, is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective at the start of the first pay period after its adoption. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gendis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Terry Severson will move.
Terry Severson moves in favor. Do I have a second?
Sean will second.
I'll second. Manning seconds. Yes, Manning seconds. Do we have an explanation of this? Director Thorson.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is to create a supervisor position in addition to the management position in the Child and Youth Services Unit. The reason for the need is that the state of Wisconsin requires that a supervisor conduct screenings on all decisions of child abuse and neglect reports taken by the child protection workers. A supervisor has to always be on call, and what we have been doing is using two staff who are former child protection workers from the behavioral health unit who are helping to cover this on-call requirement. So adding a supervisor within the unit for child and youth services would alleviate those staff of those duties and contain all of that supervisory responsibility within the unit. We would be asking to eliminate one of the positions in the Child and Youth Services unit in order to create this supervisor position. The supervisor position would still carry a caseload and would continue to do the same type of case management work in addition to providing the screening decision duties.
Thank you. So, do we have further comments or questions?
Hey, Carol here. I noticed a couple other resolutions having to do with staffing, and I was wondering, I have no problem with it. I understand they have to move as required, but I wonder if we could get a before and after organization chart just so I can see what's going on and just for the record.
Thank you, Supervisor Carroll. And I will comment that Health and Human Services publishes an organizational chart every month. So they have up-to-date charts. So please make those available to Supervisor Carroll.
Will do.
All
Mr.
right.
Chair,
Yes, Mr. Cooey.
this is Mark.
Yes.
Mr. Victor, I voted no on this also. So could that be the ordinance state so?
Okay.
And I would request a roll call vote also.
Chair, this is Supervisor Frank. I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Mark, I'm curious why you voted against this?
I guess in Health and Human Services, we restructure pretty much every 6 months. It seems like, and if you go back a few years, we had a different setup where we didn't have a manager, but we had the supervisor, and now we have a manager and a supervisor over 6 people. I get a little confused why we have so much management over a small amount. I understand Tracy has explained why, because the supervisors have to review whatever's going on. I get that, but we used to have a manager over a group, and then we had a supervisor. Now we got a manager and supervisor over that group, and it gets, to me, it seems a little top heavy. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, Gotchel, may I ask a question?
Yes, Mr. Gotchel, yes, go ahead.
Tracy, could you speak to, I agree with your decision for the position. Can you speak to assigning the individual to the position and what the rationale for that is?
Sure. The assigning the individuals, Kayla Williams, who is the most experienced social worker within the unit. The position requires 2 years of experience at a minimum. And this is the only individual within the unit who has that experience. In addition to the fact that she has that experience, she certainly has demonstrated professional maturity and ability to take on these responsibilities. She's really the only qualified person in the unit, but also the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Mr.
Is she
Coy.
the only qualified person in the county in the Health and Human Department?
Well, no, there are currently 2 staff who are working in another unit who are covering this. So there certainly are other staff within the agency. Those are not staff who want to move into the Child and Youth Services unit, but there are other staff who have some qualifications that could fill the position if they were interested in it.
Do we know if they're interested?
I haven't specifically asked, but I feel that I know the answer.
Does this position need to be posted? Is that the question?
This reverts back to my opinion of posting positions, so you don't have to guess. That's all.
I think the rationale for doing it the way that we're asking to do it is that we have to eliminate a position. So one of those positions within the Child and Youth Services will have to go away. So looking within the unit to adjust that seems to be the most logical way for us to do it in order not to eliminate a staff person who really is doing their job and qualified within the agency. So if we were to advertise or to post it, we would probably have staff being laid off.
Mr. Chair, may I comment?
Yes, Ms. Glassbrenner, go ahead.
This is more a question for Mr. Langreck. I think, wasn't there an amendment or a part in the policy that did talk about this procedure when we have this kind of thing happening where someone is promoted internally?
We haven't. That is a resolution that is further down on the agenda that talks about internal promotion.
Thank you.
I believe that I'm going to call a roll call vote on this one per Mr. Cooey's request. Mr. Vlasek, please call the roll on this resolution.
Tim Gotchel.
Aye.
Ingrid Glassbrenner.
Aye.
Linda Gendis. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Linda Gendis.
Aye. Yes.
David Turk.
Aye.
Chad Cosgrove.
Aye.
Bob Frank.
Aye.
Harry Severson.
Aye.
Steve Williamson.
Aye.
Mark Cooey.
No.
Dan McGuire.
Aye.
Steve Carroll.
Aye.
John Murphy Lopez.
Aye.
Lee Van Lendite.
Aye.
Don Seep.
Aye.
Richard McKee.
Aye.
Marty Brewer.
Aye.
Mr. Manning.
Aye.
$16 in favor and 1 against.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted. Item number 18, a resolution creating one adult protective services crisis professional position in the Department of Health and Human Services. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 30. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for creating one new adult protective services crisis professional position in the Behavioral Health Unit of the Department of Health and Human Services, with this position to be a grade H in the county's wage plan, hourly probationary rate $20.68, hourly after probation rate $21.15. And be it further resolved that the job description for this position, which is on file in the county clerk's office and which is accessible on the county's website, is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that the title of this new position is hereby added to the definition section of the handbook of personnel policies, and the title is also added to the Richland County wage plan. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective at the start of the first pay period after January 1st, 2021. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor, and Mark
position that would assist with the workload of adult protective services and crisis intervention. This position is funded primarily by Medicaid funding. Approximately $15,000 of the position is tax levy. That's how we structured the position. This is new funding that's available through the crisis intervention services that we are receiving additional Medicaid dollars that will allow us to fund this position and will allow us to meet the needs of the additional crisis workload and adult protective services workload that the agency is experiencing.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Seep.
I fully support this. This is a vital need for the agency.
Thank you. And it sounds like federal dollars, which I like the sound of.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
This is Sean. May I speak?
Yes, you may.
First of all, if Clerk Vlasic, you could note that my vote was a no on this coming out of the committee. That would be great. Thank you. Second of all, this was the other position that I was concerned about. And my concern here is a fiscal concern about adding new positions. We did pass on giving raises to employees in the 2021 budget year. And so that's why I'm cautious about this idea of adding new staff, because salaries and benefits that's our biggest expense at the county. So that's some of the reason behind, and I can understand Mr. Williamson's point about it seeming micromanaging to have an annual report, but my thinking is that an annual report would be a check-in to see if the cost savings materialize. And I know in this case, Director Thorson is hoping that this helps with our institutional placement costs, which is a very high expense coming off of our property tax levy. So if those things materialize, say with the other position or with this one, the county board could choose to make it permanent. So I'm going to go ahead and make I decided I will support this if it gets amended. So I'm going to go ahead and make an amendment again, similar to the last one, or I'm sorry, make a motion to amend that the creation of the position is temporary and may be extended by the county board based upon an annual report by the Director of Health and Human Services.
I have a motion to amend. Do I have a second?
Tim Gotchell, second.
Do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Cooey seconds. Now, I will ask Director Thorson to speak to that amendment, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Certainly, I think that it's a good idea to provide a report on what impact creating this position will create. One reservation that I have in trying to hire for a temporary position, it may be more difficult to recruit if we cannot guarantee that the position will continue. I guess that would be my biggest concern about it. I think this is a position that's needed, and I think that we have reliable funding for it because of how the state has changed the reimbursement for Medicaid, for crisis services. This is something that was new in the 2020 funding that came from the state. I appreciate the amendment, and if that's how we can create this position, I'm confident we'll be able to show the benefit that it provides. But I am concerned about how it may tie our hands in recruiting for it.
Thank you, Director Thorson. I would like to speak to the amendment. I'll pass the gavel here for a second to Mr. Manning. He's got the gavel. So I'm speaking as a supervisor, and I believe that this amendment is unnecessary, unreasonable, and that's why we've got Director Thorson in charge. If she brings this position forward next year in her budget, then it's necessary, and she has it funded. So I see no need for this amendment.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. C.
Yes, I concur with your remarks, and to add a dimension, this proposal will have a human services board consisting of very qualified and dedicated county board, as well as other experts. This has been reviewed by them, and it has been brought forward with a recommendation for approval. I do not believe in second guessing committees whom we've entrusted with oversight over agencies or departments. The cost, as a second point, the cost of institutionalization is always a danger to the county's budget. And it's not unusual, and it has not. There are examples in the past where we have had to spend as much as $500,000 for the placement of an individual to an institution. Crisis intervention is a proactive move for the protection of the county's budget, as well as the opportunity to explore other less expensive alternatives for dealing with the crisis issues. So,
okay, thank you.
I fully support it.
Thank you. I'll frame the amendment now. The amendment is to review this annually. And we are looking at with number 8. I'm going to call for a vote on the amendment.
May I ask Supervisor Murphy Lopez to please email me that amendment?
Yes, please. All right.
Mr. Chairman, is this a roll call vote?
I would like to call a vote.
Is it roll call?
I don't hear anyone asking for roll call.
I'm asking for a roll call vote.
You are. All right. We have a roll call vote on the amendment. Mr. Vlasic.
Ingrid Glass.
Aye.
Brad White. I'm sorry. Linda Jennings.
Nay. No.
Dave Turk.
No.
Ted Cosgrove.
Nay.
Bob Frank. Bob Frank.
Aye.
Gary Severson.
No.
Steve Williamson.
No.
Mark Coy.
Aye.
Dan McGuire.
No.
Steve Carroll.
No.
John Murphy Lopez.
Aye.
Lee Van Landite.
No.
Don Seep.
No.
Richard McKee.
No.
Marty Brewer.
No.
Gary Manning.
Aye.
Is that a yes?
That's an aye, yes.
Tim Gotchel,
Yes. Aye.
six in favor and 11 against.
So the motion to amend is defeated. Then we have the original motion, creating one adult protective service crisis professional position in the Department of HHS. I'm going to call for a vote. Do we need roll on this?
Mr. Brewer, I request for a roll call. This is Mark.
Okay. Please conduct a roll call vote. Clerk Vlasic.
So the determination is that the amendment failed?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, please read the resolution as it stands.
Mr. Vlasic, please.
It would be the original, correct? Unamended?
Yes. So please
Now,
call the
therefore,
roll.
do you want the roll call or do you want me to read it?
I'm not sure now. Does everyone understand what we're voting on? The original resolution. And I'd like Clerk Vlasic to call a roll call vote on that, the original resolution.
Linda Gentis,
Aye.
Dave Turk,
Aye.
Ted Cosgrove,
Aye.
Bob Frank,
Aye.
Gary Severson,
Yes.
Steve Williamson,
Aye.
Mark Cooey,
Nope.
Dan McGuire,
Aye.
Steve Carroll,
No.
John Murphy Lopez,
No.
Lee Van Landite,
Yes.
Don Seep, Richard McKee,
Aye.
Richard McKee,
Aye.
Marty Brewer,
Aye.
Gary Manning,
No.
Tim Gotchel,
No.
Ingrid Glassbrenner,
Aye.
$12 in favor and 5 against.
The resolution is adopted. Agenda item 19, resolution relating to canceling stale county checks. Clerk Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 31. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following county checks drawn on Richland County Bank are hereby canceled. The total is $136.01. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
I make a
This
motion.
is Gentis.
Manning
I
makes
so
the motion.
move.
I'll
Gentis
take you as
moves.
a second, Mrs. Gentis. So we have Manning, Gentis. These are the bad checks, or these aren't bad checks. These are stale checks, excuse me. And it's usually for fair premiums is what it is. All those in favor of the resolutions indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Item number 20, a resolution relating to canceling stale tax certificates for the tax year 2008 and making an appropriation. Clerk Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 32. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for canceling the following tax certificates for tax year 2008. The total amount is $2,831.31. And be it further resolved that $2,831.31 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to the canceled tax certificates account in the 2021 county budget. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooley, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Van Landite moves.
Ben Lundy moves. And a second by
Gary Severson.
Manning. Ben Lundy, Manning. Anyone need an explanation here of what we're doing?
I would like one.
Mr. McGuire wants an explanation. Is Julie Keller on the line? If she is not, perhaps Mr. Langrek could give some
Mr. Chairman?
insight.
You're muted, Ben.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, it's explained, Mr. Chairman, in the first whereas that the statutes require the cancellation of tax certificates that remain unpaid for 11 years. That's section 7520 of the Wisconsin statutes. This is something that the county treasurer presents every year.
Yes. But I think Mr. Supervisor McGuire's question is then what happens to that amount? Is that
That's
forever,
right. What happens to that amount?
Is that forever uncollectible?
That's my understanding.
Yes, thank you. All right, we do it every year. All those in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 21, a resolution relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the town of Aiken. Number 21, Clerk Lotzek.
This will be resolution number 33.
Mr. Chairman, this is Lee Van Landite.
Yes, Lee.
Somebody has an open mic. I can't hear anything.
Okay, please mute. Please mute if you're not speaking. Clerk Lotzek, please.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the county to execute and issue a tax deed in favor of Richland County to the following described parcel of real estate in the town of Aiken, which is known as tax parcel number 00215342100, as to which the county owns and holds the following unredeemed tax certificates for the following tax years. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Property, Building, and Grounds Committee, Richard McKee, Chad Cosgrove, Steve Carroll, Dan McGuire, and Steve Williamson, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
This is Chad. I'll move.
Second, Dan.
A motion by Cosgrove, second by McGuire. We're obtaining a tax deed here for unpaid. Can't be a very big property. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 22, a resolution relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the town of Henrietta. Clerk Lotzek.
This parcel is located in the town of Henrietta, which is known as tax parcel number 01434401009, as to which the county owns and holds the following unredeemed tax certificates for the following tax years. The total is $156.47. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Property, Building, and Grounds Committee, Richard McKee, Chad Cosgrove, Steve Carroll, Dan McGuire, and Steve Williamson, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? So moved, McGuire. I've got McGuire and a second by Williamson.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
I have a question, Marty.
Okay, before we vote, Manning has a question.
To follow up on what Marty said earlier, both of these must be extremely small parcels. See, 12 years is less than $200. Is there any explanation on why these aren't being paid, and are they somehow separate from other parcels they own? It kind of boggles my mind why nobody had paid that amount of taxes.
Does anyone have a response to that question? Members of the property committee, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This is probably an error sometime back in a deed where this a parcel got left out of a deed in a conveyance between parties. That's the most likely explanation.
Thank you. A little sliver. All those in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number
Dan,
23.
remute yourself.
Number 23. A resolution approving engagement letters with the county's labor attorney and with the county's auditor. Resolution or agenda item number 23, Mr. Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 35. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the contract proposed by the Madison law firm Hupsch Blackwell to provide labor law advice to the county for 2021. And approval is also granted for the contract proposed by Johnson Block and Company Incorporated of Viroqua to provide accounting and auditing services for the county for 2020. And be it further resolved that these contracts are on file in the county clerk's office and are accessible on the county's website. And be it further resolved that the county administrator is hereby authorized to sign these contracts on behalf of the county. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion. Smart.
Motion by Cooey, seconded by
Cosgrove will second.
Manning. Cooey, Manning. Okay, this is renewing contracts with our labor attorney, John Anderson, and the county's auditor. Any
Steve
questions?
Carroll with a question.
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
They're on file, but I wondered if they're accessible to us through our iPads or some other way so we could also look at those contracts.
Administrator Langrick, is that possible?
I can add them to the file. There also would be located in the finance and personnel packets online or in those folders as well. But if you need them added to the file, I can send them through Clerk Vlasic to the county board file.
If they're under the finance and personnel folder, I can find them there. I just didn't know where they were at.
Thank you. All right. Are we ready to vote? I think so. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 24, resolution making amendments to resolution 15-98 to establishing a policy regarding the minimum balance in the general fund. Clerk Vlasic, if you please.
This will be resolution number 36. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that resolution number 15-98 is hereby amended by repealing the following crossed out words and adopting the following underlined words. Whereas the county's auditor, Johnson Block and Company Incorporated, has recommended that the county board formalize this policy by adopting a resolution requiring the county to maintain a balance in the general fund of at least 25% of the total general fund operating expenditures for the year. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that it is the policy of Richland County that at all times the balance in the general fund shall be at least 25% of the total general fund operating expenditures set forth in the county's budget for the year. Be it further resolved that the Finance and Personnel Committee is committed to maintain the minimum balance in the general fund through budget preparations. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Mark.
Mr. Seep made the motion, seconded by Cooey. Can I have an explanation, Mr. Langrick, please?
Mr. Chair, this is Administrator Langrick. This is kind of some tidy work. It's trying to capture the expectations that we already have in place. Our goals are to have 25% of our total general fund operating expenditures in place. Our language would suggest, though, if taken literally, we would be trying to have 25% of our total budgeted expenditures. Our operating expenditures typically is around $32 million, which would mean that we would have about $8 million in reserve. This would exceed, surpass what we currently have, and we would not be in compliant with it. So in talking with our auditor and in referencing information and guidance through the American Association of Government Financial Officers, the intent is usually to have 25% of the general fund operating expenditure in place and not your total operating expenditure, which would include for us, it would include our Pine Valleys, through our highways, through our other types of proprietary type funds that we're getting revenues back in, if that makes sense, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator Langrick. So this is completely in accordance with recommendations from our auditors, our accounting firm, our Johnson Block. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're not trying to change or lower how much that we're keeping and saving. We're just trying to specify the language to match the intentions of our auditors and also, again, guidance from associations for governmental financial officers.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Further? All right. I'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Item number 25, a resolution establishing policies for the utilization of funds from the county's short-term capital borrowing. Clerk Vlasic, if you please.
There is an amended agenda, so the next item is actually a resolution restructuring the child support agency.
Oh. Well. And do we, maybe I don't even have that on my agenda, is that?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'll go ahead with that, okay?
Go ahead with that.
Be resolution number 37. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following personnel changes in the Child Support Agency are hereby approved for the purposes of restructuring that agency. 1, the staffing level of the agency is reduced from 3.2 positions to 2.2 positions, with 1 position remaining classified as dedicated, which supports a higher reimbursement rate from the state. 2, the title of the lead caseworker position is changed to Child Support Director, and the pay for that position is changed from grade H in the county's pay plan, starting hourly rate at step 2, $20.68 an hour, to grade K, starting hourly rate at step 2, $25.73 per hour, and Ms. Amy Hoffman is hereby appointed to the Child Support Director position at step 4 of grade K in the county's pay plan, hourly rate $26.90 per hour. And be it further resolved that the title of the Assistant Corporation Counsel Child Support Administrator position is hereby changed to Child Support Staff Attorney Assistant Corporation Counsel. And be it further resolved that the Handbook of Personnel Policies and Work Rules and the pay plan are hereby amended in accordance with this resolution, and the job descriptions which will be amended in accordance with this resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective on March 1st, 2021. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gendis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
Thank you, Clerk Lasek. You've heard the resolution, folks. What's your pleasure?
This is Gentis. I so move.
Van
Moved by
Landite,
Gentis,
second.
second by
Van Landite.
Van Landite. Changes in the child support area. I think we're doing more with less people, but we're changing some of the job status of those people. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, this is Administrator Langrick. That's correct. Through our
Yes.
budgeting process, we did eliminate a position coming into this year. That would put us from the 3.2 to the 2.2. With the other adjustments in the positions, our lead caseworker position, and this was kind of all part of the package in eliminating the position, we looked to add on additional responsibilities to that position, essentially making it a department head position. We solicited out to our compensation plan and our classification plan consultant through our Cunningham Butler, through Carlson Detman, namely Patrick Glenn, who's our consultant. Initially, we had put in to have the position considered as a child support supervisor position with the position description that we submitted and the expectations of the position. Patrick came back and said, what we're asking of that position matches up with what other departments consider a child support director, and that the position should be classified and compensated as such. That being the case, then the current lead caseworker, Ms. Amy Hoffman, the proposal today then would be to have her position and her reclassified to a child support director position and appointed there as such. Then the current title of the Assistant Corporation Counsel Child Support Administrator, currently held by Amy Forehand, that position then would be retitled to the Child Support Staff Attorney and then / Assistant Corporation Counsel. Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I don't have the resolution before me, but others do, I think. Is that correct? And are we ready to take a vote on this?
Chair, this is Frank. I have a question.
Please, Supervisor Frank, go ahead.
Thank you. So it says that there is a higher reimbursement rate from the state. Do we know what that reimbursement is and what the financial impact is of the pay rate increase and the financial reimbursement from the state? Do we know what that effect is overall?
Administrator
Yes,
Langrick, you answer, please.
Mr. Chair, Administrator Langrick, yes, we did have those numbers brought to Finance and Personnel. I can dig back into those. How the dedicated classification works is that is reimbursed at a higher rate. When we initially eliminated the position, there was concerns that state and regional would not allow us to keep one of those positions classified as dedicated, which would have impact our reimbursements. They have consented and are going to allow us then to keep our child support specialist position as considered dedicated. So we will still be able to get the higher reimbursement rate for all the cases that are considered dedicated, which is good. The overall financial impact, if you want to stand by, I can get. Stand by.
This is Amy Forehand. I might be able to answer the question.
Go ahead, please, Mrs.
Our expenses and child support, we get a 66% reimbursement for as a general proposition. So, except for there is those expenses that are considered a mixed expense, and that is some of them are the are considered 4D cases, which the state reimburses us from, and then others that are not. If we weren't allowed to dedicate it, then our two employees both would be considered mixed. And so we could potentially be getting less depending on what they say their percentage are. Now that one's dedicated, that person will still get that 66 automatically reimbursed. That's really what the difference is how much of the salaries that we get reimbursed.
Thank you.
And
go ahead.
And the reduction on the non depends on, they randomly sample what the people are working on and they do a percentage. And so it really doesn't affect us too much because most of our cases are considered the cases that the state reimburses for. So we don't have a big, we don't really get a big cut for the non-reimbursed one, but at least this way we're make sure that the one person gets the full reimbursement.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Steve Carroll with a question.
Go ahead, Steve.
I understand having to work with the reimbursement rates and titles and all that, but what I'm not clear on is, was there an unfilled position that they've now decided not to fill, or the actual number of people is what I'm confused on?
When Nancy Tisdale retired, in anticipation of that, we decided we would rather restructure the department as opposed to filling that position. And so we did have 3 full-time positions last fiscal year. We did reduce that to 2 this fiscal year in anticipation of this restructuring.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Sieb.
Yes. The bottom line is this appears to be financially advantageous to the county.
Thank you. I'm going to call a vote on this. All those in favor of the resolution making the changes in the child support area signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Okay, Clerk Vlasic, are we then on agenda number 25 on my agenda?
It's the resolution establishing policy.
From the short-term capital borrowing?
Correct.
Please read the resolution. Thank you.
This will be resolution number 38. And I believe I have the right version, the short version. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the short-term capital borrowing program policy, copy of which is attached to the resolution and which is also filed with the county clerk's office and made available on the Richland County website, is hereby adopted. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
This is Dave Turk. I'll make the motion.
Go ahead. Mr. Turk, was that you?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Brewer. I'll second it. Comments? Anyone?
Steve Carroll here. It says it's attached, but I don't see it in my iPad. Is it somewhere we can look at?
I'll ask Administrator Langrick for comments, please.
Mr. Chair, yes, we do have, again, this is would have been found in not last month, but the month prior's Finance and Personnel. We've already, as a county board, approved the appropriations of the money for this year. The additional language that's included in the policy kind of defines the Finance and Personnel as the authority for reappropriating those funds in the need that we need to slosh them from one project to another. It also then requires that we bring approvals for expenditures out of that fund to the Finance and Personnel Committee. So it's a little bit of added language that helps put some more context into how we're managing these funds and the decision points on the appropriations for them. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'll call a vote on this resolution. All those in favor of this yes, Mr. Carroll?
Well, I just find it hard to go back and look at things when I don't know where they're at. If it was from 2 meetings ago, it's hard to find that stuff.
Thank you. Criticism accepted. Thank you. We'll do better. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 27, perhaps, resolution establishing policies for the utilization of funds from the short-term borrowing fund. Didn't we already do that? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Excuse me, I hit a double there, all right? Resolution establishing a procedure for county employees to express management concerns. Mr. Vlasek.
This will be resolution number 39. Do you want me to read this in its entirety?
No.
Thank you. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gendis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
Thank you. Administrator Langrick, though, can make some comments here that will clarify this. Please, Administrator Langrick.
Mr. Chair, there's kind of 2 different things that we're trying to approach here. The first is for employees to have a system in place for expressing concerns or complaints regarding working conditions, policies, procedures, problem with coworkers, and management decisions. Except what it's kind of doing is it's calling for them to bring it forward in formal writing if it cannot be remedied through conversation. And then the obligation then becomes of management to formally respond to those complaints and to see if remedy is possible. The second part of this includes then reports of mismanagement. And that would then kind of circumvent taking it right to management to higher levels when the specifications of what is viewed as mismanagement is met.
Thank
and
you.
That would include violations of any state or federal law, violations of county ordinance, actions taken beyond legitimate authority, substantial waste of public funds, patterns of incompetent management, etc., as defined. So there's kind of 2 different things there. If you have concerns or complaints on how the department's running, you're taking it through management. If it's specific as defined as mismanagement by this, then you're circumventing management and taking it to the levels of administration.
Thank you. And this would protect the employee then through this process.
It would protect the employee for any type of retribution for filing a complaint. But as you see in the language, it doesn't give all of us as employees a shield from anything that we would have done that is incorrect. So if I'm doing things that are incorrect or my performance isn't there, just by filing a complaint or a concern or report of mismanagement does not shield me from my own actions or lack thereof actions, Mr. Chair.
Nor should it. Thank you. All right. All those in favor of this resolution?
Mr. Chairman?
Gary Severson moves for adoption.
I'll second that, Glassbrenner.
We didn't have that? I'm sorry. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Mrs. Glassbrenner. Thank you. Sorry, the hour is late. All those in favor of this resolution indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
It is adopted. A resolution approving a transition plan and directives to transfer human resources and financial functions from the county clerk's office to the county administrator. Clerk Glosek, if you would, please.
This is resolution number 40. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the 7-page transition plan and directives, which was developed by the Temporary Administrator Transition Committee, a copy of which is attached to this resolution, is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that the purpose of the transition plan and directives is to accomplish the transfer of human resources and financial functions from the county clerk's office to the county administrator's office. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. John Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Donald Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Van Landijk moves.
Van Landijk moves, second by
Glassbrenner.
Glassbrenner. Discussion? I will make a comment. This is all part of the transition, our ongoing process when we went to the administrator form of government, county government, I should say. These are necessary changes, and they are being accomplished. But there's a lot of things that have to be taken care of, a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
This is Supervisor Turk. I'm on the Temporary Transition Committee, and we've spent a lot of time going through the things that need to happen, and by no means are we flipping a switch and making these things happen instantly. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a process, but this transition plan is laying out the steps in that process and the things we need to accomplish to get this changeover made. And just establishing the expectation that we're all going to work together to minimize the impact on the citizens of our county as these functions are shifting.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, it is late, but Administrator Langrick here. So you understand what is in the plan that was presented and recommended to you from Finance and Personnel. The plan is kind of overview that captures several different sections. There is an intentions of the board sections, which to me, what really stands out is the intentions are to perform these transition of duties, but to do that underneath the prioritized principles of minimize disruption to financial and HR operations, to retain all employees assigned to those functions, utilize their knowledge, to transfer functions, personnel, work areas, etc. in a responsible manner, to monitor progress by committee, and to report problems accompanied with recommended solution. The plan then goes on to define the different authorities and actions taken by the Administrative Transition Committee through the Finance and Personnel Committee, rules and resolution involvement, and then on to yourselves as a county board for adoption. Past that, then we have sections that relate to the workspace and where the administrator and staff would fit and locate. That currently being the office for the computer room off of the county clerks would be reassigned to the county administrator, and there would be shared floor space for the clerk work floor. The plan then also goes into different changes with the AS400 system, as well as for posting for an an accounting supervisor position, which we have posted, and we will be doing interviews this coming Friday. Past that, then we have some directives to the administrator and to the county clerk on engagements and expectations for the transition, as well as sharing of staff. We have references, legal references on the different state statutes and the county rules and ordinances that were referenced in the decisions and talking points. And then the last section is oversight and communication as needs, wants, desires, or concerns arise during the plan. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a big job. I really want to comment right now and say I appreciate the cooperation and wherewithal and forward thinking of everyone involved in this process. So thank you, and I think from here on out, it's going to go well for us as we transition. Thank you. Now, I will call a vote on this if we're ready. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Anyone opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you. Now, I will ask the clerk if there are any other items on the agenda other than correspondence and adjournment.
There is one ordinance.
There is?
Yes.
All right. I
The
don't think I have it. So.
The ordinance number 4, an ordinance amending ordinance number 20-26 relating to designating the county clerk as the administrative coordinator of the county. The Richland County Board of Supervisors does hereby ordain as follows. 1. Ordinance number 20-26 relating to designating the county clerk as the administrative coordinator of the county is hereby amended by repealing section 3B, in which the following is stated. The county clerk shall exercise the following duties. 3B, assist the county administrator in the preparation of the annual budget, monitor implementation of the adopted budget to ensure that all expenditures of county funds are made in compliance with the allocations of the budget. 2, this ordinance shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The ordinance is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Mark Cooey, Steve Williamson. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong committee on here, but anyway, Finance and Personnel.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Ordinance. This is an ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Williamson moved.
Motion by Cooey.
Yep.
Second by
Williamson.
Williamson. These are changes, necessary changes in the clerk's position to correspond with the transition. Comments? Anyone? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. That brings us to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did prepare another resolution entitled "A Resolution Stating Richland County's Policy of Filling Long-Term Vacancies by Promoting Current Employees." That was prepared. I don't know, perhaps County Administrator Langway could speak to that. I think it got on the agenda.
Thank you, Administrator Langrick.
I don't see where we could add it into the folder, Mr. Chair. It was something that was kicked back and forth yet through this earlier part of this week. It does not look like I have a resolution that's in the folder to present to the board tonight.
Okay.
We're not ready for this one. We'll carry it over. Was there any correspondence, sir?
No.
All right. I will entertain a motion, and I'm going to state this as adjourning to March 16th, 7 p.m. in the Conference Center at the Phoenix Center.
Mr. Chairman,
Motion by Manning.
Mr. Chairman, I
Second
will.
by.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
There is a number 34 on my agenda that says an appointment, the Child Support Director.
I think we covered that back a few.
Okay.
I was confused. I apologize.
Mr. Chairman.
Not the first time.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Did I understand that we will be meeting then at the next meeting at the Phoenix Center?
Yes.
Oh, fine, thank you. Mr. Cooley.
God willing. God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Mr. Chair,
Appreciate that.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed. We are adjourned.
Mr. Seep, make sure you bring your wallet next meeting.
Thank you.